Welcome to Film and Page. I'm Dominic, and this is another Top 5 video. Since the last few Top 5 videos I've done have been book-related, I decided to change it up with this one. One thing that has always been a staple of science fiction is the space station. They might not be as popular as the Starship, but they are important all the same. I've given this one some thought for a while, and I think I've come up with some interesting picks. So I won't waste any more time. Let's get into the video. Number 5. Space Station 5. First appearance, the 1968 film 2001: A Space Odyssey. By the year 2001, Space Station 5 was the largest orbital structure built by humanity up to that point. This international station was used as a transfer point between Earth orbit and the Moon. Made up of 2 rotating habitat rings with one still under construction at a diameter of 300 meters, and the station's height along its central core being 150 meters, with 2 docking bays at either side of its rotational axis. Why is this in my top 5? Is because this design for a space station is so simple and straight to the point. As soon as you see it, you know exactly how it functions, you know exactly where the spacecraft dock, and you know where the habitat area is. It has a real-world look to it that makes it totally plausible that this space station could exist. This isn't something that is beyond the engineering feats of humanity today. Also, being a fan of 60s and 70s science fiction, I love the interior of the station with its clean, brightly lit corridors and crazy bright red furniture. Number 4. Earth Space Dock. First appearance, the 1984 film Star Trek III: A Search for Spock. Earth Space Dock was under construction in the year 2257 and is a fully operational space station by the year 2285 during the events of Star Trek III. The diameter of the station is approximately 3.8 kilometers and with a height of 5.5 kilometers. Other known stations in Star Trek that uses this design is Laia Station Alpha, Starbase 74, Starbase 84, and Starbase 133. Now, in these current times, there is so much Star Trek, with 13 films, 11 television series, if you include short treks, and with more on the way, plus all the games, books, and comics. So it's hard to imagine now, but I can remember when Star Trek consisted of the original series, the animated series, the motion picture, and the Wrath of Khan. That was it. There was still so much about the Federation that wasn't seen yet. The first Star Trek movie I saw in the theaters was Star Trek III: The Search for Spock. Having seen Star Trek mostly on a 20-inch tube TV, this movie blew me away. And while it might not seem like a lot today, but the simple shot of the Enterprise approaching space dock combined with the James Horner score was really impressive at the time. What I love about the space dock design is that massive scale. It looks huge and epic. Not only that, it looks like a bright shining city in space. The design of it totally screams, this is where the good guys live. With its sweeping curves and lit up like a Christmas tree, it looks like a luxury hotel in space. Also, it finally gave the Federation fleet a rallying point, a base of operations, something that wasn't seen in Star Trek up until this point. Number 3. The second Death Star. First appearance, the 1983 film Star Wars: Return of the Jedi. Built by the Galactic Empire as the successor of the first Death Star in the year ABY4, the second Death Star would have the same purpose as the first, to scare planets and star systems into falling in line. Not only that, it was used as a trap for the Rebel fleet by leaking false information to them that the second Death Star was not yet operational, in the hopes that they could destroy the Rebel fleet once and for all. Coming in at a massive 200 kilometers in diameter, constructed with a hull made of quadanium steel and powered by a hypermatter reactor core, the second Death Star was armed with a wide array of turbo lasers, ion cannons, concussion missile launchers, heavy tractor beam emitters, and protected by a deflector shield being projected from the surface of the Endor moon. It also carried 4,200 starfighters, 2,400 shuttlecraft, along with AT walkers, landing craft, with well over 1 million crew members and Imperial Navy officers. However, its most famous and terrifying feature was the battle station's massive single super laser, with the capacity to easily destroy any Rebel ship with one blast, and also destroying whole planets. Now, there's been some debate on whether this really counts as a space station because it's capable of moving. However, this version did not have operational hyperdrive engines, so it's not really stationary, but I think that is really just nitpicking and splitting hairs. What I've always loved about this design is the half-constructed look to it. It gives it much more character and malevolence than the first Death Star. Unlike the Federation's bright, happy-looking space dock, this thing is dark and industrialized looking. You know right away it's not going to be a good place to visit. It's made to instill fear and cause destruction on a genocidal level. Also, the Emperor's throne room is one of my favorite settings in a science fiction film, with all the dark shadows, black reflective surfaces, and the window directly behind the Emperor's throne makes it look like he is at the center of some kind of evil web. All the scenes that take place in this throne room are my favorite ones in Return of the Jedi.
Number 2.
Deep Space Nine. First appearance, the 1993 pilot episode for Star Trek Deep Space Nine Emissary Parts 1 and 2. Originally known as Terok Nor and constructed between 2346 and 2351 by Bajoran slave labor during the Cardassian occupation of the planet Bajor, it originally served as a refinery for uridium ore that was mined on Bajor. It also served as a command post for the Cardassian prefect of Bajor, one of which was Gul Dukat, who oversaw the military aspects of the occupation. In 2369, the Cardassians decided to withdraw from Bajor after a 50-year occupation, also leaving behind and abandoning Terok Nor. The Bajoran Provisional Government petitioned for membership into the United Federation of Planets, and for help in repairing and maintaining Terok Nor. After some negotiations, it was agreed that a Starfleet officer would have overall authority in running the station, while a member of the Bajoran militia would be first officer and act as a liaison to the Bajoran government. The station would be renamed Deep Space Nine, with Starfleet officer Benjamin Sisko appointed as the station's commander. The discovery of the only known stable wormhole in the galaxy and located in the Bajoran system, the wormhole connected the Alpha Quadrant to the Gamma Quadrant. The role of Deep Space Nine would change forever. Under orders of DS9's first officer, Major Kara Nerys, the station was moved from orbit of Bajor to the mouth of the wormhole to cement Bajor's claim on it. Deep Space Nine would become one of the key Starfleet bases, and would lead the Federation and its allies in the war against invaders from the Gamma Quadrant known as the Dominion. With a diameter of 1.4 kilometers and a height of 969 meters, with 6 large docking pylons, 3 medium docking ring ports, 9 small docking ring ports, and 6 landing pads, armed with 48 phaser arrays, rotary mounts, 36 phaser emitters, stationary mounts, 3 phaser emitters, sliding mounts, 48 plus torpedo launchers with the capacity of 5,000 rounds of photon or quantum torpedoes, and deflector shields for defense. When I first saw Deep Space Nine all the way back when it aired in 1993, the design really stuck out, because it was so different from anything I'd seen in Star Trek at that point as far as space stations went. It looked alien enough that it could easily be distinguished from the Federation, but still practical looking enough that the layout to it made sense. The interior of the station was a complete contrast to the Enterprise D when it came to its darker lighting, along with the color schemes of grayish purples, tans, browns, with glowing bluish-green console displays contrasted against black surfaces, gave Deep Space Nine a much more militarized and ominous look than anything used by the Federation at that point. With the promenade laid out and inspired by the old western towns, complete with a sheriff's office and saloon, keeping in theme with the show of Deep Space Nine being an allegory for a frontier town. I love the look of the curving docking pylons that connected to the outer ring of the station. These also lended well to the station having a more ominous look, like demonic horns, and the sinister red lighting at the bottom of the station's central core. It all helped set the tone and theme for the show, letting fans know they were in for a darker Star Trek show than what they had seen up to that point, also becoming one of the best Star Trek series and a classic sci-fi show unto itself.
Number 1.
Babylon 5. First appearance, the 1993 pilot episode for Babylon 5: The Gathering. When an Earth Alliance exploratory fleet made its way to Minbari space on a first contact mission, The commander of the Earth Alliance fleet mistook the Minbari warrior caste's tradition of approaching other ships with their gun ports open as a hostile move, and ordered the Earth vessels to open fire on the Minbari fleet. The attack killed the Minbari Holy leader Dukat. The misunderstanding of cultures had disastrous consequences. This ignited a devastating 3-year war between Earth Alliance forces and the Minbari, with Earth being totally outmatched by the much more advanced Minbari technology. Humanity was on the brink of going out as the Minbari were leaving no survivors and accepting no surrender. In a last desperate battle, the remaining Earth ships formed a defense line in Earth orbit to buy time for as many humans to be evacuated to neutral territory as possible. As the Minbari arrived, the Earth ships fought as bravely as they could, but with little use against the Minbari fleet. Just when it seemed like humanity was at its end as a civilization, the Minbari mysteriously ceased firing and surrendered unconditionally to Earth Alliance forces. The battle would be forever known as the Battle of the Line. To prevent such misunderstandings between alien races in the future, the Babylon Project was created, a space station in neutral territory where alien races could meet each other on diplomatic terms, functioning in a similar fashion as the United Nations on Earth did. The first 3 stations were destroyed during their construction due to sabotage, and the 4th vanished without a trace shortly after coming online, until the last of the Babylon stations, Babylon 5, which came online in 2256 and was first commanded by Commander Jeffrey Sinclair and then Captain John Sheridan. Roughly 8.4 kilometers in length and 1.6 kilometers in diameter, located 18 light-years from Earth in neutral space in orbit of Epsilon 3 of the Epsilon Eridani system, and located close to a local hyperspace jump gate, powered by fusion reactors and armed with a defense grid made up of twin particle array turrets, a range of plasma cannons, pulse cannons, and interceptors, along with an E-system which detected PPG weapons fire. It also boasted 48 Star Fury fighter craft. Babylon 5 is my favorite space station design, hands down. It's straightforward and functional looking, with its main docking port right at the front of the station, and its rotating habitat cylinder gives the station a massive look. I also love the gray and bluish-purple color scheme with red detailing. It gives B5 a somewhat ominous look that matches the show's darker tones and themes. I love the lighting and design of the interiors for the station. It looked different from anything I had seen on Star Trek, and instead of coming off as generic, it gave the series its own unique feel and flavor. With its wide variety of internal areas that were divided up by color codes, starting with Blue Sector, which contained the CNC operational and maintenance control centers, docking bays, customs, observation dome, and quarters for station personnel. Then the Zocalo, located in Red 5, the center for the station's marketplace, serving much the same purpose as the Promenade on DS9. Then the lush garden area known as Green Sector, which was the posh area for the ambassadors visiting the station, to the seedy underbelly for the station's criminal elements in Down Below or Brown Sector. All these different sectors gave the station a wide variety of settings, as you had everything from posh diplomatic settings to command centers and all the way to slums. I found this all gave Babylon 5 a city and space feel. Considering the budget of the series, the creators of the show did an excellent job of pulling this off. In my opinion, Babylon 5 is one of the best designed space stations in science fiction, from one of my favorite sci-fi series of all time, being only outranked by Star Trek the Original Series and Star Trek The Next Generation. With a new reboot of the series set for 2023, I hope they stay close to the original design of the B5 station and don't try to change things just for the sake of change, trying to fix something that isn't broken. And that's my top 5 favorite space stations in science fiction. No honorable mentions for this one. So let me know what your top 5 favorite space stations in science fiction are. And that's everything I have to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I will see you at the next one. I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you all in helping this channel grow. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded.